What if I told you that an 8-year-old girl walked into a courtroom and brought down one of the most powerful judges in the country with just 4 words? I can read minds. You'd probably think I'd lost the plot, wouldn't you? But what happened next will leave you absolutely gobsmacked. Picture this scene, right? There's this massive courtroom packed to the rafters with lawyers in their fancy suits, reporters scribbling away, and spectators whispering amongst themselves. Dead center of all this chaos stands the tiniest figure you've ever seen. A little black girl, couldn't be more than 8 years old, looking like she'd been through absolute hell. Her hair was done up in these loose plaits that framed her face, which was proper mucky, like she'd been sleeping rough for days. She's wearing this oversized blue jacket that's practically swallowing her whole, with sleeves so tatty they're coming apart at the seams. Here's the thing that'll break your heart. She's got no shoes on, not a stitch. It's just bare feet on that cold courthouse floor. But despite looking like she'd been dragged through a hedge backwards, this little girl walks straight up to Judge Randall, this towering bloke who's got everyone in that room scared stiff of him. The judge, he sat there behind his massive bench, gripping his gavel like it's some sort of weapon, looking down at her like she's something the cat dragged in. "Right then," he says, clearing his throat proper loud, "who's brought this child in here?" The bailiff, this big burly copper who looks like he could handle himself in a scrap. He's practically shaking as he answers. "She asked for you specifically, sir. Wouldn't speak to anyone else. She wouldn't." "Now, Judge Randall," he raises one of his eyebrows. "You know the look? The one that says I haven't got time for this nonsense?" "And why's that then?" This is where it gets absolutely mental. The little girl, she lifts her chin up, looks him dead in the eye with these massive brown eyes that seem way too old for her face, and she says, quiet as anything, "Because I can read your mind." The entire courtroom just stops. Complete silence for about 3 seconds. And suddenly everyone's in stitches, laughing their heads off like it's the funniest thing they've ever heard. Even the judge starts chuckling, leaning back in his posh leather chair, looking proper amused. "You can read my mind, can you?" he says, still laughing. "That's brilliant, sweetheart, but this isn't Britain's Got Talent. This is a serious courtroom." But here's what's mad. The girl doesn't budge, doesn't even blink. She just stands there, calm as you like, and whispers, "You don't believe me?" Just like all the others did, until I told them what they'd been hiding all these years. And just like that, the laughter dies. Dead silence again, but this time it feels different. Heavy, like the air before a proper storm kicks off. Now, let me tell you what had happened 2 days before all this courtroom drama. This little girl, her name's Amara. By the way, she'd been found wandering the streets with no shoes, talking to random strangers and saying things that made grown men leg it in the opposite direction. She walks up to this bloke in an expensive suit and says, cool as cucumber, "Your wife knows what you got up to last summer." The man's face went white as a sheet. To a shopkeeper, "You nicked money from your best mate's wallet." To another random punter, "You're planning to run off with her sister, aren't you?" Every single time without fail, these people would go absolutely mental. One bloke actually screamed, "How do you know that?" before shoving her away and running off like his life depended on it. Obviously, someone called the old bill. When the coppers turned up, they tried to be gentle with her, bless them. "Where's your family, love?" one of them asked. Amara's voice was barely a whisper. "They're gone. To know all these things you've been saying." She blinked slowly, like she was trying to work out how to explain something impossible. "I can see inside people's minds. I feel their secrets." "She's barking mad," one copper muttered under his breath. But then Amara turned to him and said, "You're still wearing her perfume, aren't you? The woman you see every Thursday?" The officer's face drained of all color. His partner looked at him like he'd seen a ghost. "This kid's not right," the partner said. "What do we do with her?" "She keeps asking for Judge Randall," another copper chimed in. "Maybe we should take her to the courthouse. He might know what to do." So that's how little Amara ended up in that courtroom, standing face to face with one of the most powerful men in the legal system. Back in the courtroom, Amara takes another step closer to the judge's bench. Her voice is steady, but there's something in it that makes your skin crawl. "You've been hiding it for years," she says softly. "The thing you did. The one that still makes you wake up in a cold sweat, screaming in the dark, for just a split second, and I mean just a heartbeat." Judge Randall's cocky smirk falters. but he recovers quick enough. You're having a laugh, he snaps. You're just a frightened little girl trying to get attention. Now here's where things get properly mental. Amara raises her tiny hand and places it gently on top of the judge's head. The entire courtroom erupts in gasps and shocked whispers. Don't touch the judge, some lawyer hisses from the gallery. But Amara doesn't move her hand. Instead, she closes her eyes like she's listening to something deep inside his skull, something only she can hear. You didn't mean to do it, did you? She whispers. No. Judge Randall's heart starts hammering against his ribs like it's trying to escape. You pushed her. You didn't think the fall would kill her, but it did. The judge's face turns gray as yesterday's newspaper. The room goes so quiet you could hear a pin drop on carpet. You buried her near the river, Amara murmurs, her eyes still closed. You thought no one would ever find out. You became a lawyer, then a judge, and convinced yourself you'd been forgiven. That's when Judge Randall absolutely loses it. Shoots up out of his chair like he's been electrocuted. Enough, he roars, slamming his gavel down so hard it actually cracks. This is complete rubbish. She's making it all up. But Amara still doesn't flinch. Her hand stays exactly where it is. Then why are you shaking? She asks softly. And he is. He's shaking like a leaf in a hurricane. The crowd starts murmuring, getting restless. Is it true? Someone shouts. What's she on about? Randall's breathing gets faster and faster. His eyes dart to the bailiff like he's looking for an escape route. Take her away now, he orders. But Amara is not finished. Her voice gets louder this time, carrying across the entire courtroom. You see her every night in your dreams, the woman you buried, the one who's screaming in your head even now. Judge Randall staggers backwards like he's been punched in the gut. His face is now whiter than milk. How could you possibly know that? He whispers, his voice all hoarse and broken. Amara opens her eyes and stares straight into his soul. 'Cause she's still screaming, the little girl says. I can hear her. All hell breaks loose. The courtroom erupts into absolute chaos. Porters are scrambling for their cameras. Lawyers are shouting over each other, and the judge is banging his gavel like a madman, but nobody's paying any attention. Order. Randall bellows, his voice cracking like a teenager's. Order in this court. But his hands are trembling so badly he can barely hold the gavel. Amara stands perfectly still, her small hand still pressed against his head. You hear her too, don't you? She whispers, eerily calm. Her voice, her cries, the way she begged you to stop. Lies, Randall roars, his face now bright red as sweat pours down his temples. This child is manipulating all of you. I've never hurt anyone. Amara tilts her head slightly, those plaits brushing against her shoulders. Then why can I see her? The judge freezes solid. You buried her near the riverbank, Amara continues, her eyes narrowing. You thought the current would wash her body away, but the ground was too thick. You covered her with rocks. Randall's legs start wobbling. He grabs the edge of his bench so hard his knuckles go white. Stop, he hisses through gritted teeth. You kept her bracelet, Amara says, louder now so everyone can hear. You put it in a box. It's still under the floorboards in your study, isn't it? Judge Randall's head snaps up like he's been slapped. Nobody could know about that bracelet. Nobody. The room falls deadly silent. You could cut the tension with a butter knife. A woman at the back stands up. What's she talking about? What bracelet? Amara's voice gets sharper, more focused. The one he ripped off her wrist when she scratched his face. The crowd goes mental. Everyone's talking at once, voices getting louder and more frantic. I want her removed now, Randall screams, his voice completely breaking. This is slander. She told me her name, Amara says, cutting through his rant like a knife through butter. The courtroom goes silent again. Her name was Claire. She was 24, and you promised to drive her home that night. Judge. Randall's mouth falls open like a fish gasping for air. Amara says softly. Shh. But when she said no, you lost control. You pushed her. And when she stopped breathing, you panicked. You thought no one would ever find out. Suddenly, Amara gasps and staggers backwards, clutching her head like she's in agony. She's screaming again. The girl cries, her voice breaking. Her voice ... it's getting louder. She says she won't stop until the truth comes out. The judge backs into his chair, his whole body shaking like he's having some sort of fit. I didn't mean to, he chokes out, the words barely audible. I didn't mean to hurt her. It was an accident. The room goes dead silent. Every single person in that courtroom is staring at Judge Randall, as he falls to his knees behind his bench. Claire was my sister. A young man in the audience shouts, tears streaming down his face. You told us she ran away, you monster. The reporters surge forward with their microphones. Lawyers are trying to hold them back, but it's chaos. Amara slowly lowers her hand from her head. Her voice is gone now, she says quietly. She says she can rest. Within minutes, police officers surround the judge's bench. You're under arrest for the murder of Claire Donovan, one of them announces. Judge Randall's face completely Kimball's. He looks like a broken man. I didn't mean to, he cries, as they drag him away from his seat. It was supposed to stay secret. No one was supposed to know. Amara's eyes follow him coldly as he's dragged past her. She always knew, the little girl whispers. She just needed someone to listen. As the gavel falls for the last time, Amara steps down and starts walking towards the exit. A reporter manages to get close enough to speak to her. How, ... How did you know all that? Reporter asks, barely able to get the words out. Amara's lips curve into the faintest of smiles. I don't just hear thoughts, she says softly. I hear the voices of the ones you've tried to silence. And with that, she walks barefoot out of the courtroom, leaving nothing but stunned silence behind her. Right, if this story's left you absolutely speechless, smash that like button and hit subscribe, because there S-loads more incredible tales like this one coming your way. Drop a comment and let us know where you're rewatching from. We proper love hearing from all of you. Till next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep your eyes peeled for the extraordinary.